Hey guys, this is Steve with Steve Weber Films, and I am trying something a little bit different today. I am going to do kind of a behind the scenes kind of overview on how I edit my wedding films. To kind of give you an overview of how I think and what I process when I pick the footage from the wedding day to make the highlight film for my couples. If you've had a wedding film done with me, you know that your wedding film is emotional. It pulls that emotion out. It brings viewers in. It shares personal bits about you and your life and your love story that make you who you are. And that's what makes your wedding unique, is your love story, your unique story. Say it all the time. Nobody on the planet has a love story like yours, and that is true. Nobody can ever duplicate that, and that's what I try to convey in my wedding films. So that's what I want to try to do. Today we are going to be looking at Kylie and Jake's wedding that I did at the end of November. I don't know if this is going to be of interest to anybody. I don't know if anybody cares to know how I do this or cares to know my thought process on how I edit films, but I just wanted to do this in case somebody did. Maybe nobody cares. I don't know. That's why I'm giving this a shot. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a comment down below and let me know. I'll be happy to go through and kind of give you a intro into my mind on how I think about this kind of stuff. So if you want me to do this again, let me know and I will. If you don't want me to do this again, let me know and I won't. So today we are going to be looking at Kylie and Jake's wedding. They got married up near Peoria at Edwards, Illinois, out at the family farm. And that was very important to Kylie, the bride. She grew up on the farm. She grew up raising cattle. Raising cows was one of the big things in her life when she was little and when she was growing up. So she wanted to make sure that was incorporated. So you'll see that throughout the video. And I will explain some of that as well. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. I don't like when people ramble for too long. So let's go ahead and look at the video. And I will talk you through the video as I go and kind of give you an overview of what I'm doing. If you haven't seen the full video, I invite you to watch it up here at this link right up here. To watch the full video in its entirety before you watch this. That will give you an overview of what the final film looked like, and then you can come back to this one and see how I broke it down and how I chose the footage that I wanted to use. So let's jump into it. So here we go with Kylie and Jake's wedding at the end of November. And I will pause throughout and kind of let you know where my thought process was, what I shot, why I shot it, and why their film is the way it is. So let's get into it.
She came home from work one day. Jake was coming over. As soon as she seen Jake come down the driveway, she was in a hurry to go outside to meet him at the end of the driveway to give him a hug.
I always like I always put my logo at the beginning of every single one of my films, just because I feel like it's a movie. And when you watch movies, you always see the producers and the studios that do the movie. That always comes up first while the audio's going. So that's why I always have my logo at the beginning right there. And then, like I said, Kylie was very adamant that she wanted footage of the farm. I've got a drone. I use my drone all the time for weddings, especially for establishing shots. I also use it for couples if we have time and if that's something they want to do. But most of the time it's establishing shots. Showing the farm and highlighting the farm was a big deal for Kylie. So I knew that going in because I had talked to her beforehand. Whenever you hire me as your videographer, I am your contact person throughout. Whenever you contact me, I'm the person you're talking to. Whenever I show up for the wedding to film the wedding day, I'm the person who films it. Whenever the edit is done, I'm the one who does the edit. So keep that in mind when you're looking for a videographer. If you go with one of these all-inclusive companies for budget reasons or, package reasons or whatever, I completely understand that. But just keep in mind that the person you're talking to book it is not the person who's going to film it, and it's not the person who's going to edit it. The person that shows up to film it is just there to film the wedding. That's what they're there for. That's what they got hired for. That's what they're going to do. They're going to take all that footage and they're going to push it on to an editor. The editor who was not there, who has no idea the backstory, has no idea what they're doing as far as what happened on the day. They're going to go through and put the edit together based on a cookie cutter method of doing it. And it's going to be essentially getting ready, ceremony, reception, and a little bit of audio sprinkled in. Put audio here, put audio there, and done. That's what the wedding film is going to be. They're all very cookie cutter. They're all very generic. I don't like those. Personally, I like to elevate that storyline of the couple, and the storyline is what makes the wedding film. I preach this all the time. Your story is what makes your love story unique, is what makes your wedding day unique from everybody else out there. And that's what I want to convey with your wedding film. So that's why the opening shots that you see here is the family farm, because that was important to Kylie. You can see the cows down here in the shot. You can also hear them mooing and stuff. That was extra audio that I added in to just kind of elevate that scenario that we're on the farm. There's cows involved. That's important to the couple. It's important to Kylie. I wanted to include that. And as you're seeing these visuals, you're hearing a voice talk, and that is Kylie's dad giving a speech at the reception. I always like to include audio from speeches because it just, like I said, elevates it, and it also sets the tone for the wedding film.
Home from work one day, Jake was coming over. As soon as she seen Jake come down the driveway, she was in a hurry to go outside to meet him at the end of the driveway to give him a hug. And I'm like, my job is done.
One other note real quick while we got the details up here. This is why your photographers and videographers ask for your details all to be in one spot in a box before we get there on the wedding day. I always want to shoot detail shots like this with the earrings, the rings, a ring box. If you got this, great. If you don't, no big deal. I can make it work. They had vow books here. They had a branding iron, which will come into play later, you'll see. And they had their invitations here as well. These are all important details of planning your wedding, and this is why we always ask that you have your details put in a box, all in one spot: rings, invitations, necklace, jewelry, shoes, vow books, anything special to you that helps tell that story. Make sure you have all that put together. Make sure you have all that ready for us. And then we can just take all that and create these images without having to bother you on the day. You can just relax, get your makeup done, hang out with your girls, and just have a good time on your wedding day. So that's just a side note on your details. Make sure you have all that put together.
She was in a hurry to go outside to meet him at the end of the driveway to give him a hug. And I'm like, my job is done. The moments of riding in the truck with the music blasting, nothing else in the world mattered except that moment with her.
You can start to see the emotion here because Dad is remembering those times in the truck where it was just he and Kylie, and they were blasting the tunes and singing and having a good time. And you can see that emotion in Kylie's face right here. You can start to see her losing it a little bit because, yeah, that's an important memory. That's something I want to include in the wedding video. That's something I want to include in the wedding story because that is important. And it also ties into what Dad's saying, and I'll rewind it a little bit here and let you listen to it. But he's saying that he's passing the torch to Jake. That, you know, all those moments in the time in the truck with Kylie, blasting the music, singing at the top of her lungs, that's the moments I love. And now that's your job, Jake. You're taking over the reins as that important person in her life. I'm no longer the most important person in her life. That's your job now. So that's what he's saying here, and you'll hear that in his words. I'll rewind it a little bit so you can hear the full speech again.
My job is done. The moments of riding in the truck with the music blasting, nothing else in the world mattered except that moment with her. That's your job now, man. But the most important thing, I was the most important man in her life, and now you are. And I'm privileged to have her be the most important man in life. So good luck, and enjoy every moment of it, man, because it goes fast.
You'll also see that Jake is holding it together here too. He's trying to hold it together. He's getting emotional, but he doesn't want to show it. Whenever I do reception speeches, I always have two cameras rolling. One that's focused on the couple to get their reaction in real time, and one that's focused on the person giving the speech. In this case, Kylie's dad over here was trying to avoid the camera. I found out after the fact, by the way, that he was trying to avoid being on camera for this, and I was getting the back of his head initially. I had to move to get this angle. I always want to get the shots of the person giving the speech because it's an important part. And Kylie's dad is an important player in this entire situation, right? It's the father of the bride, so it's important. So I moved around, got the angle I could get with him, and I still had that angle of the bride and groom that I could cut to without having, like one camera that was focused on him, and now the bride and groom are out of the shot, and you can't see the reaction. So that's how I set up reception speeches, and that's why you see two shots here. Even though it's just me as a solo shooter, I set up two angles so I can utilize that for the final wedding highlight film.
Life, and now you are. And I'm privileged to have her be the most important man in life. So good luck, and enjoy every moment of man, because it goes fast.
How could I ever begin to describe it? I've never felt this way before. Every door opened and let all the light in, and now I can see for miles and miles.
The getting ready shots for the girls, I always like to be there and get that in real time. A lot of photographers, videographers will show up after hair and makeup's done, and they will have the makeup artist kind of do touch-ups and act like they're putting the makeup on or doing the hair. I like getting that in real time just because you get the genuine reactions, genuine interactions between the bride and her girls. And yeah, you may not have your makeup on. I have gotten to the point where I don't usually use that footage where you are just completely no makeup, no hair, but every so often it'll work to where you get an overview of everybody in the room. And in this case, and you see on the screen right here, we have this book of letters to the bride that the girls all put together. And these are our personal letters to her, talking about their lives together, their friendships, all that. This was important for Kylie to get. So I got a shot of the book, because I was going to use Kylie looking at the book, getting her emotional reaction.
Since I found you, every day you're showing me how to.
These are two different shots, one where I shot her turning the pages, one where I shot a little wider angle. It kind of goes together where if you see the page turn, it both looks like they're both turning at the same time, but they're really not. But you kind of get the feel that, okay, she's turning this page. This is what she looks like. This is the emotional reaction to it.
For miles and miles since I found you, every day you're showing me how to. Yeah, how could I ever begin to describe it?
Hair and makeup shots I always like doing in slow motion. I just think it looks so much better when it's this slow motion of putting the makeup on, the brushes and all that kind of stuff. You're going to start hearing Jake's voice here, and this is where I always ask my couples to do personal letters or personal vows to one another for their wedding film, because it is their one chance to have their voice and their thoughts at the time forever immortalized in their wedding film. This is one of the biggest days in your lives. And this is a wedding film that hopefully you're going to want to watch every year on your anniversary and share with your kids someday and grandkids. To be able to hear your voice back then and hear what you were thinking and kind of hear that backstory of the couple from their perspective is why I love incorporating this. You're going to hear Jake talking here. I'm going to let it run through. And as you hear him talking, you're going to see B-roll of Kylie getting ready, because the audio for the letters, I usually just record audio because it's so much easier to incorporate into the video versus trying to record them reading their letters on camera. I used to do that, but it turned into a big pain in the ass, so I don't do that anymore. I just record audio. I think it's easier for them. It's easier for me. But you still get the point across because I can use B-roll shots and still tell the story of the couple from using their words as filler into the video.
Kylie, they say time flies when you're having fun. That's an understatement. It seems like just yesterday, I was laying eyes on you for the first time at the Morgan Wallen concert and thinking I had enough game to be within a 10-foot radius of you. To say we have come a long way since that day is also an understatement. We've done and accomplished more things together in the last year than most do in a decade, and I cannot wait to see what we can do together in the future. You truly are everything a man could ask for. Your kindness, selflessness, and compassion for not only me, but everyone around you never goes unnoticed.
You have the getting ready shots of Kylie getting in her dress, all the girls in their pajamas, everybody getting ready, doing the buttons up the back. I always like including the first look with the girls because it's usually a moment that's really nice to see all the girls see the bride in her dress in all her glory, full hair and makeup, full glam. And it's just a nice moment. If we can get that shot and get the good reaction from the girls, I always love including that in the wedding films. It just makes it that much better and another memory for the day.
The way everyone lights up when they see you is the best sight to see. You bring so much happiness and joy with you everywhere you go, and have brought so much happiness to my life too. I know I tell you every day that I love you, and it may sound repetitive, but those 3 simple words cannot be more true. I could write page after page about how much I love you, but I think my pen would run out of ink by the time I was done.
These shots, if you can believe it, it was freezing ass cold this day on this wedding day. It was 18 degrees outside during these pictures. I always tell couples, and brides especially, because guys are usually in suits. It's not as bad. Brides, girls in the wedding party, they're in dresses like this. It is 18 degrees in these pictures, and it's always worth the effort to suffer through the cold and get these pictures outside. You get so much better light, and you get so much prettier colors and that kind of stuff. You know, it sucks while you're going through it, and it is so freaking cold, but it's worth it 100%. To get these pictures and get the outdoor pictures like this. You can't tell it's freezing cold out, but the girls were suffering. Just as a side note there, suffer through it. It'll be worth it.
Page after page about how much I love you, but I think my pen would run out of ink by the time I was done. Which is okay, because I'd rather show you for the rest of our lives how much I truly do love you every day.
And all that, the letter and everything leads into the first look between Jake and Kylie. You also notice the cows in the background here. This was another thing Kylie wanted to make sure she incorporated into the video was the cows, because the cows are a big part of her life and her growing up. So we made sure that we had Kylie's dad get them all herded over here so they were in the shot. And then during their first look, you can see the cows in the background. We have this really nice walkway down here with the stairs. The photographer and I worked together to get that figured out. And then I have Jake mic'd up so I can get his reaction to seeing his bride for the first time. I always mic up the groom for the first look because it just elevates it. Again, you get his genuine reaction that only the two of them are privy to. And that a lot of times that reaction is awesome.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. I don't know if we're supposed to kiss. We're probably supposed to save that first kiss for for the actual wedding. So we'll not kiss.
So that's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
You look beautiful.
And then we did a first look with Dad. And first looks with dads are always good too. I always like micing them up too. I always ask permission on this, so don't feel like I am just micing everybody up just to mic them up. I always ask. Some dads are like, nope, I don't want to mic. This is just between me and her. Respect my privacy, 100%. Kylie's dad was awesome. He was so much fun to work with, and I have him mic'd up. You can't see his face right at the moment, but you will in a second. But you can hear the emotion in his voice, and you can see the emotion on Kylie's face too here in just a second on how important this moment was for both of them.
Get it out now. Yeah, we gotta get it out now. Thanks for everything for today. Oh, goodness.
Okay, enough of that shit for the next 3 hours.
That shot cracks me up every time I see it. Enough of that shit for the next 3 hours. He's making a joke. He's trying to play it off. You know, he got emotional. He's crying. He just saw his baby girl in her wedding dress on her wedding day. It's an awesome moment. And then to see Kylie's happiness here, even though she was crying, she's laughing because this is the way her dad is. He's very matter of fact. He's funny. You know, it was a great moment. And I left that in there because it was so good. And you can see the mic right there on his jacket. So that's why I mic him up, so I can get those reactions. I can get that footage and make this part of the wedding video. After this part, we go in and you start hearing Kylie talk over the top of the visuals.
If someone had told me just over a year ago that I would be getting married today, I wouldn't believe it. But God has an incredible way of giving us the things that we need when we least expect it. It feels like just yesterday we were standing on Sand Dollar Island when you asked me to spend forever with you.
Okay, so this shot here I ripped off of their Facebook page, actually. They had their engagement on Sand Dollar Island, wherever that's at. I don't know where that's at. If you know, good for you. I don't know. But I knew that this was their engagement pictures. And being that Kylie mentioned that in her letter to Jake, I thought it would be a nice moment to include those pictures from their Facebook page that illustrate what she's talking about. So all of a sudden you are connected. You're connected to the couple here. You're like, oh, this is when they got engaged. Look at that. It's on the beach. It's beautiful. She's beautiful. They look happy. The sunset, perfect moment for an engagement. And that's what she's talking about. And rather than just have that audio with basic B-roll, you're getting kind of the backstory on their story, that love story that is unique to them. That's what I want to try to tell. So I incorporated that. They did not know I did that. But if I can incorporate stuff like that, then all the better. And that just, like I said, elevates my wedding films to another level, in my opinion.
It was the easiest yes, and still is. As I'm sitting here writing this, I can't help but think of all the signs God has sent us over the years. One shooting star at a time, telling us we were truly meant for each other.
When I was a little girl,
Those shots right there where the bride and groom are looking at each other and laughing, that was kind of like in between shots. I always like, the photographer gets the big pose shots where you're looking at the camera smiling. In between shots where she's setting stuff up or she's talking, I'm getting video of the couple doing things and interacting. And these shots right here were that moment in between actual photo shots. Those are the shots that are usually when they let their guard down and they start kind of kidding around with each other and talking to each other and having fun. And those get really genuine reactions.
Telling us we were truly meant for each other.
when I was a little girl, I always imagined this day and wondered what my husband would be like. You are everything I've ever prayed for and so much more. I promise to always put you first, be there for you through thick and thin.
Okay, so this one we have their vows where she is reading her vows in real time during their first look. These are also the vows you heard at the beginning that I recorded audio-wise before we did the first look. So I incorporated both of these to make it work. I always like to do the audio recordings for the speeches or personal letters and that kind of stuff. And I do that just so it makes it easier for me to incorporate everything. They wanted to do their vows during the first look. I knew it was going to be outside. I knew that we had options of the cows mooing or them getting really emotional and breaking down or the wind blowing really hard or anything. So I wanted to get their vows in the bag ahead of time. So I did that. I recorded them ahead of time earlier in the day, got that recorded audio-wise, and then when they did the first look, we did their vows again. Or they did their vows to one another at that moment. And you can see I've got a mic on Kylie here to pick her voice up nice. I kind of brought those two together. So the first part of it is her talking on the audio version, and the second part is her in the first look. So I brought those two together to make it work.
And most importantly, love you wholeheartedly forever. Nothing compares to the true joy I feel getting to walk down the aisle to you. I can't wait to see where this life will take us. Love you forever and always.
We got the whole world before us.
Again, drone shot to show the area we're in. This is the barn over to the side of the house on the farm. This is where the ceremony was. I wanted to get a drone shot of that to kind of let you know that we're moving from the house over to the barn. This is where we're at now. I always like using the establishing shots to illustrate for the people watching the video that this is where we're at. This is what you're looking at, and kind of give you context on where you're at in the world just to make it make sense, I guess.
It's the moment when you know it. This is where everything begins. This is as good as it could get. You give me something that I never will forget. A feeling like this.
I always like to get the handoff between bride and dad and the groom. In this case, Kylie's dad did the officiating for the ceremony as well. That's why he had the big binder in his hand. They did their wedding ceremony in the shed here. And some people might look at this and go, God, you did it in a machine shed? Ew. But I don't look at it that way. This is part of the story. Kylie grew up here. This is Kylie's happy place. This is the farm where she grew up. This is the barn that she took care of her cattle in. This is the barn that she and her dad worked in when she was growing up. This barn means something. That's part of the storyline. That's part of the story of Kylie and Jake and Kylie and her dad. That is part of the storyline. So it's important. It might not be the flashiest thing in the world, but it's their story. It's her happy place. It's her wedding. This is what they did, and it turned out beautiful.
We're gathered together to celebrate the very special love between Kylie and Jake.
Now, this was a very challenging venue as well because I go to rehearsal for every single wedding I film. I do this because I need to know where I can put my cameras and how I'm going to capture everything, where I need to capture audio, where the people are going to be standing, where I need to put cameras, where can I put cameras, what audio do I need. I do all this at reception or rehearsal so I know exactly what I'm dealing with on the day. In this case, it was super important because they were up 12 feet above everybody on this little platform area. Made it a very challenging situation to make sure I captured it. If I showed up on the day of to capture this wedding and not having any idea they were doing this, I don't even know what I would have done with it. I really don't, because I don't know how I would have captured that not knowing this ahead of time. So that's why I go to rehearsal every time. For this one, I had to set my camera that's on a gimbal on a high table right behind this guy's head to be able to shoot up and see these guys, see Kylie and Jake up here. For Jake's angle, I have a camera over on this side of the screen. And then for Kylie's angle, I have a camera over on this side of the screen off to the side that is picking up the two angles of their faces, which you'll see in just a minute. I also have her dad mic'd up so I get his voice nice and clear. I have Jake mic'd up so I get his voice nice and clear. And then for the music for the ceremony, I'm hooked up with a DJ who's over in the corner.
By joining them in marriage. These two are extremely lucky that they found each other. Some people go their whole lives, none of that, without finding a special person. As you can see, these two, when they look at each other, it is obvious to everyone here that these two are meant to be together. We're all here to support Jake and
So even though these two are 12 feet in the air on this platform, I've got my camera set up with 70 to 200 zoom lenses to where I can zoom in on them and point the cameras up almost like a 45-degree angle to get these shots. But they work because I planned it. I planned everything out at rehearsal. That's why I go to rehearsal. That's why it's important. And if you hire somebody else that doesn't go to rehearsal and just shows up on the day, good luck getting these shots, because not knowing this is where they're going to be standing, not knowing where this is going to be, it would be a nightmare trying to figure this out on the fly in real time. Because once a wedding starts, it's going and it doesn't stop until it's over. And you don't have time to be, hang on, wait a minute, I need to move cameras around. I can't see, I can't do this, can't do that. That's why I go to rehearsal. That's why it's so important, so I can get angles like this.
Kylie, to be proud of them, to remind them that true love is a great journey. Love is excitement of writing your own love story together.
I, Jake, give you this ring
As a reminder of my endless love for you.
as a reminder of my endless love for you.
I, Kylie, give this ring
As a reminder of my endless love for you.
as a reminder of my endless love for you.
Jake and Kylie are starting a new tradition.
So this is where the branding iron that I was talking about earlier with details comes into play, because they used it during their ceremony. It's their brand for their marriage coming up. So they wanted to use this as a branding ceremony during their actual ceremony. This is another reason rehearsal was huge, because they were going to do this facing this wall back here by this window, and you wouldn't even be able to see this happening in real time. So during rehearsal, I coordinated with them and I told them, okay, I need to be able to see this because this is a big part of the day, and I want to be able to see this on your video so you can remember it. Can we put this thing up on this balcony or this banister and have you guys do the brand up there? Will that work? And they thought, yeah, we could do that. And they had a guy downstairs in the bathroom with a torch heating this up during the ceremony so it would be hot. And then whenever the time came, he came up the stairs, handed this off to Jake. They did the branding ceremony. You hear Dad, the officiant, talking about the branding ceremony and what it means while they're doing the branding ceremony. And it just elevates everything to another level for their wedding film. And we did this because it was planned, because we figured this out in rehearsal. If I wasn't there for rehearsal, none of this would have been captured. None of this would have been available for their wedding film. So that's another reason I go to rehearsal.
As a sign of their love for each other, the intertwining of their lives, and the fire that burns in their souls, they will brand this piece of hide. This brand will be permanently displayed in their home as a symbol of the vows they have made here to each other today.
That little hiss sound when the brand hits the thing, I added that in post, just to illustrate that sucker's hot and it's burning that hide that they're branding. So that is, one of those things, one of those ambient noises that I add into the edit to help bring you into the story, to help you immerse you into that moment in time and know that that's what was happening. And damn, that thing must have been hot. You just subconsciously know that by seeing it and hearing it.
Just as the brand cannot be undone, so shall their promise to each other stand the test of time. It is my pleasure and honor to now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride, Jake.
So color the morning in crimson and violet. There's so much waiting to be found.
If you can do a dip kiss as you're coming out of the wedding ceremony, down the aisle, around the corner, whatever, do it. It makes for beautiful pictures, and it's a great moment to capture with photo and video. Make sure you do that if you are planning your wedding.
Let every mountain and river remind us there's beauty in every twist and turn that we're taking. This is a masterpiece in the making.
Kylie wanted to make sure she got sunset pictures. They are out in the middle of nowhere. Big open fields. Sunset was absolutely gorgeous. Again, it is like 15 degrees outside at this point. You can see what she's wearing. It's freezing cold, but they were troopers. They did it, and look at the shots they got because they suffered through it, and they got the shots. These are beautiful shots, and I love every one of them.
Yeah, and how could I ever begin to describe it?
I am so happy to have you as a brother-in-law. You are definitely a blessing to this family. Thank you for loving my sister, committing her, and protecting her, and knowing that she comes with a little sister who expects a front row seat to a beautiful future that you two will build.
Like I said, for the reception speeches, I have the two cameras rolling so I can get focus on the person talking and focus on the couple. I can get real-time reactions, and when I deliver the final ceremony or reception speech edit for the couple, I do a picture-in-picture so you can see the person talking and you can see the couple in real time with the reactions, and it just elevates everything and allows me to capture this. I am hooked up with a DJ through the mic to get that good audio, and it just brings it together. I always love incorporating parts of every speech in the weddings. I never used to do this, and I found out that it makes such a difference, and it's an important part of the day because these are important people in their lives. If they're giving a speech at the wedding, they're important to the couple, and what they say needs to be included. So if you're a bridesmaid or a groomsman that's going to be giving a speech at a wedding, take a minute, plan something out, write something down, and make it meaningful. Don't get up there and just shoot from the hip and do some BS speech. Make it something meaningful, because this hopefully will be good enough to add into their wedding film like this and forever be remembered that you were there on their big day. So make sure that you take the time to write a meaningful speech for the couple, because it makes such a difference. And it will be included if I'm the one doing the wedding film.
I don't know what a perfect couple is supposed to look like, but I'd say God did a pretty amazing job when he prepared the love between the both of them.
Jake has always been one of the guys in the group I knew I could trust and rely on to watch after my best interests and made all of us feel safe. A protector, selfless, some might say a big softy when he wants to be, and one of the hardest working men I know, and I'm excited to see all that you build together. This is exactly what I picture when I think of a man who Kylie deserves, and vice versa.
I think my favorite thing about Kylie that I see in her is with Jake being so kind and caring and compassionate to others, is he has somebody to be kind and caring and compassionate for him. And I just want to say thank you for being nice and kind to Jake, protecting his little heart. You know, as I stand here, I look out across the crowd and I see all the happiness and smiles, and to bring that out in the crowd, it just shows that you guys got to be happy and smiling together. That's all I got.
We got the whole world before us. It's the moment when
The speech is just to add that little extra to the story and give you a little more overview of who Jake and Kylie are. Jake's a really kind guy, really kind soul, and his best friend is happy that Kylie's there to take care of him and nurture him and be a great partner. So that's why I include those speeches. It just makes it better, elevates everything, and makes it better.
know it. This is where everything begins. This is as good as it could get. You give me something that I never will forget. A feeling like this. A feeling like this.
If I'm ever filming a wedding and you are at the wedding party and you see me point the camera at you, interact with it, because it makes the video so much better when you interact or you see the camera and you don't go, oh God, get me away from this camera. If you interact with it and look at the camera and point at it or sing to it or whatever, I think it just makes it better. So if you see me doing that, see me pointing the camera at you, interact with me, run towards me, point at me, whatever, I think it just makes it better, in my opinion.
I promise to always give you my all and do whatever it takes to make your life happy and make your dreams become reality.
The end of the video, I wanted to include part of Jake's letter that I didn't include in the beginning of the video, because I think it helps tie everything together and just wraps it all up into a nice bow and brings it all together at the end of the day and makes their wedding video finish off beautifully along with the visuals.
The rest of our lives together, and absolutely know that I have my best friend beside me for the ride. Love, Jake.
Just knowing that he's got his best friend behind or beside him for the rest of his life, and that visual right there, walking down the path. Again, it's 15 degrees outside. She was freezing cold for this, but it just really ties into his vows and just makes it that much better. And then the finishing shot with this beautiful sunset, this little dip kiss, flowers, full dress, just absolutely gorgeous. And then I always end up with my logo at the end just because. So there you go. That's how I edit a wedding film. Hopefully that was informational to somebody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you did, let me know in the comments. If you didn't, let me know. But that's how I approach the wedding films. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm doing the wedding films. And if you are looking for a wedding videographer, contact me. Go through my website, steveweberfilms.com. You can email me at steveweber@steveweberfilms.com. And I would love the opportunity to capture your wedding day and create something like this and create your very own movie with emotion. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments. If you didn't, let me know in the comments. And I would love to do some more of these if you want to know more about how I went about looking at creating a wedding film. So until then, I will talk to you guys later. I'll see ya.